Ah, the smell of DIY in the morning. Welcome, legends, to my latest questionable life choice, building a Biltong box. Why buy a ready-made one when you actually can go build one from a storage locker that you buy from Bunnings? Let's go. Let's address the very important or meaty question about what is Biltong? Biltong is South Africa's gift to the world. Here is a piece. Now this one I've already started eating, but this is what it looks like when it comes out at the end. And you cut this down in pieces and you eat that. It's got a very spicy, tangy taste, and it just melts in your mouth. It's like jerky, but bitter. So biltong is made by marinating beef. Beef, you can also use other meat like springbok or kudu, like a game meat as well. And basically marinating it in a bit of vinegar, and thereafter you spice it, and we air dry it for about 3-4 days afterwards. So let's get back to the biltong box. I currently have a plastic biltong box that I built when we moved here to Australia, but it has had its years and it's time for a replacement. The current box, I can currently do about 2 to 3 kgs of biltong at a time. Now I have been looking around for some ideas of what will a new biltong box look like. I was browsing through the garden section at Bunnings, and I came upon a special for storage locker for $89, and that gave me an idea. But I didn't buy that storage locker on the day, and a couple of days later I went to go buy the storage locker after I've sort of thought about what am I going to do with this. The idea is using this storage locker as is and drilling a hole at the top for the extraction fan and add some cross beams to hang the biltong on. The fan will be attached to the inside of the case, so there's nothing actually sticking outside. I'm only going to add one fan to this box um, until the need arises and I see that we need more airflow in the box, but I'll leave gap there for the second fan. With these cases, they actually already have ventilation slides at the bottom, um, and so it's no need for extra ventilation holes to be drilled. I can just use the standard one there and just add mesh to keep out the critters. I'm also going to add horizontal bars, which I'm also going to add horizontal bars where I'll be hanging the biltong on. A lot of guys add a lamp, an electric lamp inside the box to get rid of humidity. For now, my first iteration, I'm not going to add a lamp. I'm really going just to have the fan that's electric. I'm going to be pulling 5 volts and that's it. And then basically just the crossbars just to get a first batch out. Assembling the locker. Now they say you should lay out all the parts neatly before starting. I say just make sure nothing's missing and wing it from there. In my simple design, I wanted the hole at the top of the locker. I wanted to drill the hole before actually putting it in the locker and bringing the locker up. Just adding it so I can actually drill the hole with some support of a piece of wood. I've never used a hole saw before, not even for non-metal. So this was my first time. Again, make sure you use the relevant equipment. The fan I will be mounting is a 5 volt 80mm computer fan. I was contemplating about size, but ended up drilling a hole with a 76mm hole saw. And that turned out to be actually very perfect and actually a very snug fit. Drilling the hole was quite tricky as I did not actually know how to do it. I just went ahead and started after doing my measurements. Addition to soft hand chronicles. Brace for kickback. Be sure to go slow and steady and always respect the hole saw. My wrist felt it afterwards. Now that we have the locker up, I needed to add some cross rods to hang the biltong on. For this step, I fastened rod ends to the case with pop rivets. This really worked well instead of screws and came out quite neat on the outsides as well, with nothing protruding outside. I had some left out curtain railings lying around in the garage, And I just cut these to size to actually fit in, and it actually turned out really nice. And for the last step, before testing it out, I added the mesh at the top just above the fan, and at the bottom in the inlet. With Biltong, you want to suck the air from the bottom over the meat and out the top. The test drive. I paid around $12.99 a kilo, and I got about 6 kgs of meat just for this batch, just for the first test run. It worked out to roughly $100 worth of meat, and yeah, So bulk meat, the true mark of commitment here. For the spices, I went straight to the source. I found a local South African shop that supplies Biltong spice, very nice spice. They already mixed everything up for you, coriander and pepper and salt, so that has already been done. So it just makes it much more easier, just especially on this. I used to always buy coriander and all the ingredients separately. These guys have everything mixed up ready for you, and it's a beautiful spice. After about 3 days having the box in the house running at about 24 to 30 degrees, this was my result. Perfect Biltong. Really, really good batch. I'm really impressed with the outcome. Well, there you have it, folks. The Biltong box is built, the meat is done, and we can celebrate. Lovely Biltong. If you enjoyed watching me fumble through the power tools, repurpose curtain rails, and pretend to know what I'm doing, then you're in the right place. And you probably know what to do with that subscribe button and that little bell icon. Until the next DIY project comes along, see you next time.